Welcome to Nightfall Stories. Tonight, we dive into one of the most chilling real-life hauntings ever recorded, the Amityville Horror. It's a story of a house that should have been a home, but instead became a prison of fear, darkness, and unexplained terror. What happened within its walls in 1975 is still spoken about with a mixture of fascination and dread. The events that follow involve real people, real experiences, and an evil presence so intense that it drove a family from their home in just 28 days. This is the story of 112 Ocean Avenue, Amityville, New York. Before the Lutz family ever stepped foot in the house, tragedy had already struck. In November 1974, Ronald DeFeo Jr., just 23 years old, murdered 6 members of his own family in their sleep. It was a horrific crime that shocked the nation. Parents, children, and siblings killed without mercy. Investigators reported that Ronald appeared cold and detached, claiming that voices drove him to commit the murders. The house itself seemed cursed. Locals whispered that something dark lingered within its walls. Yet, over a year later, the Lutz family, unaware of its grisly past, purchased the home. George and Kathy Lutz, along with their 3 young children, were excited for a fresh start. They never imagined that their dream home would become a nightmare. From the first night, strange occurrences began. The air felt heavy and oppressive, as if the house itself were alive and watching. Doors creaked open and slammed shut on their own. Windows rattled violently, even when the wind was still. Objects moved slightly, but noticeably, as if pushed by an invisible hand. The children were the first to notice something was wrong. They spoke of seeing shadows dart across rooms, and sometimes, ghostly figures standing in corners, watching them silently. One child whispered to their mother, "The man with red eyes is staring at me." Kathy Lutz tried to dismiss it as imagination, but the events escalated quickly. George Lutz began waking every night at exactly 3:15 a.m., unable to move, feeling a crushing pressure on his chest, and hearing whispers that seemed to speak directly into his mind. He later described the presence as intelligent, malevolent, and angry, as if the house resented the living. The haunting became more aggressive with each passing day. George reportedly saw a terrifying figure, a massive, pig-like demon with glowing red eyes, standing silently at the foot of his bed. The children continued to see shadow figures, sometimes reaching for them, sometimes vanishing before they could scream. Kathy discovered bruises on her arms and legs that appeared overnight, shaped like claw marks. Furniture moved on its own, sometimes sliding across rooms as if someone had thrown it. The foul odor, a stench of decay, would suddenly fill rooms and linger for hours, vanishing as mysteriously as it appeared. One of the most disturbing events occurred in the children's bedroom. George found his son sitting up in bed, frozen, staring at the corner. When he looked, he saw a figure hovering there, invisible to the naked eye, but sensed by a terrible presence that made the hairs on his arms stand on end. Desperate for answers, the Lutz family called in paranormal investigators. They reported strange phenomena, disembodied voices captured on tape, cold spots in rooms where the temperature should have been normal, and objects moving without explanation. Some investigators claim to witness objects flying across rooms, lights flickering violently, and furniture shifting in impossible ways. Electronic voice phenomena revealed whispered threats and messages, "Get out," "Leave this place," and other words that chilled everyone present. The house seemed aware of the investigation, reacting aggressively to every attempt to understand it. Fear began to consume every member of the Lutz family. Sleep was impossible. Anxiety grew into terror. George and Kathy constantly worried for their children's safety, often locking doors and windows and checking rooms repeatedly at night. Kathy described the sensation of invisible hands pressing down on her chest, making it difficult to breathe. George recounted seeing the spectral pig demon again, and at one point, he claimed to witness a shadowy figure standing in a hallway, watching silently for hours. The children began refusing to sleep in their rooms, crying that something was there, and sometimes claiming to hear whispers calling their names. The family's mental and emotional health deteriorated rapidly. It became clear the house was not just haunted, it was dangerous. The haunting reached a climax when the family could no longer endure the terror. Doors slammed constantly, objects flew across rooms, and ghostly whispers filled the halls day and night. George and Kathy realized they could not remain in a home that seemed determined to drive them away. After only 28 days, the family fled, leaving their belongings behind. They moved into a motel, never to return. Their story captured national attention and soon became the inspiration for books, documentaries, and movies, cementing the Amityville Horror as one of the most famous real-life hauntings in history. To this day, 112 Ocean Avenue is known as a haunted house. Some owners claim to feel watched, hear footsteps, or see shadows moving in empty rooms. Skeptics argue that the events were exaggerated, but the detailed accounts from the Lutz family, investigators, and witnesses remain compelling. The Amityville Horror continues to fascinate people worldwide. It's a story of fear, of evil that lingers, and of the unknown that challenges our understanding of reality. Thank you for joining us tonight on Nightfall Stories. If this tale chilled you to the bone, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. More dark stories, true hauntings, and mysterious legends await. Remember, some places are better left alone, because the shadows you cannot see may be closer than you think.